I'm going to start my, I think it makes it the third iteration, even though it's the second video here, of building my events and booking, or actually my agents' events and booking application for Business Central. In the first video, we built the foundation. One of the things that the agents did was write a user guide. I ended by running the load test data function. But I thought we could actually go through quickly the getting started tutorial here to see if everything works. I found one error already yesterday, but if we go through this, then we will be able to see um, if things otherwise run smooth. So I'll launch the app here like this, and I think I will actually put this over on my other screen so I can follow along. So here's the app loaded. We activated the role center, so that's my starting point now. And the guide says open the role center. We did that. It says view the events list. I'm going to look at upcoming events. It says find this event called Excel for Beginners. That's this one. Confirm that the event is and review the capacity fields 12, 7, and 5. 5 available. This was the error I found. They're actually showing 0. I noticed it because it only updates that number when you actually modify the event, which is of course wrong. But we'll just go through things here. It says create a booking. So we'll create a new booking for Excel for Beginners. Can I do that here? Oh, I think I have to open the event card. Yeah, it tells me that. And then bookings, and choose new booking. It actually only says new, so that's a bit wrong as well. In the number field, enter a unique booking number, book. So it should do that automatically, I would say. So that's one thing I need to change. I'm gonna put my initials in there. Oh, yeah, that didn't work either, did it? So it didn't put the event number in, and that's why it says the filter is off. It should do that as well. So I'm just going to make a note of that while we go through it. Errors, booking number not assigned, and event number not transferred when creating new booking. That was two things it needs to fix. I have this booking, the date I booked it, that's today, I guess. I can link it to a customer. Let's try that. I haven't done that before. Like that. Okay, so that's a new booking. So now we should have 6 bookings. Yeah, my booking was booked. But if we go back here, it actually did update. Booked seats and available seats is 4 now. It still doesn't show it correctly though for these. So that's still wrong. It should not be 0, of course. Okay, what's the next step in the walkthrough? Confirm updated seat. That was yes. Okay, so that was the walkthrough. So as you could see, there was clearly a few things wrong. I mean, the code compiled and it ran, but there's some well-known Business Central patterns that the agents had ignored. And this is a typical process. I mentioned, I think earlier, that I had to, in the beginning, augment my Claude Markdown file to tell the system to not create object IDs or object names that was longer than 30 characters, because it kept doing that, for example. So update Claude MD, and it hasn't done it since. one issue we saw when we just tested the code was that it had not used the number sequence pattern. So I had to type in a booking number, and events and booking wasn't tied together correctly like they're supposed to be. So both the booking table and the event table, I'd like them to be auto numbered like we know it from Business Central. Um, so what I did was I actually asked Claude to do it himself. I asked, I use Claude inside of the terminal here as well. It's the same repo, and it's the same Claude that the agents use. I can just start Claude inside of the terminal window here and have him do some changes. So I asked Claude to update the Claude MD file with the well-known pattern for number series. So now the Claude MD file has been updated. As I mentioned, there's already rules in here for object naming, um, permission sets, and so on. But here's the number series pattern, and there's some examples and instructions for how to set them up and use them. Another thing that wasn't done correctly was the master detail link between events and bookings. I'm pretty sure I could just ask it to fix it, but again, it's a normal pattern, so the one-to-many relationship pattern. And again, I asked Claude to write some instructions and give some examples of how you would tie together, in this case, event number with bookings. So we'll see if this doesn't help, so that we can fix the issues here. So with those new instructions in place, I created an issue for the program manager Fraser to create tasks um, to address those mistakes or sort of add in the new directions for how to do that. So I've told him we've just added prescriptive guidance for how to use number series, and I've told him that these two tables were done without following that guidance. So I'm asking him to change those tables, use number series according to the guidance. And once we've changed that, we also need to change the load sample data function. So because today it assigns some random numbers to the data it generates, it should use the number series. There should be a setup table where you can choose the number series. It'd be nice if the load data function created the necessary number series. And in the end, I also ask it to make it so that load sample data can clear its own data out and create new data. So Fraser ran and created um, several tasks. There's still something funky about the numbering, so I need to fix that in some way. But I don't think it matters too much for how it works. The agents have already completed a couple of tasks. The two first that Fraser did was creating the seat filler setup table. That's where we'll define the number series and a card page for that. And then there's the remaining tasks here. To use the number series in the right way, update sample data, and update the user guide. So we'll see if this doesn't address that issue. And then after that, in this iteration, I'll also have it fix the way the master detail links work. So I will leave the agents to do their work for now and check back with them later. Or given that it's late now, I'll check in with them tomorrow morning. So the agents have worked overnight in this case. So their agent nightly branch lives up to its name now. So the approach I took was because I wanted to fix this number series problem first of all, and I tried just creating one task and asking an agent to fix it all. That didn't work very well. I could loop through it a couple of times and get close, but it didn't take everything into account. So I tried, which I thought worked better for the first set of tasks, to let the program manager break it down for the agents. So we did ask Fraser to use to set up engineering tasks for using number series for the events and booking tables, and take everything into account. And Daphne and Sam has shared that work, so that's great. And one thing they've done that I had trouble getting them to remember was to update the sample data code unit. So when we create the sample data, it has to respect that the code units are there and the number series are there. And they, of course, have to set up the number series. So it'll be interesting to see. I can see it's created a seat filler setup table to set up the number series, and it says it has done all of the updates here. We can take a look at some of the changes they've done. Everything is linked together in the issues here. So you can see when I look at one of the engineering issues here, first of all, you can see that Fraser writes much more detailed engineering tasks than I did. I just wrote a paragraph of text that definitely changes things when the agents get very prescriptive instructions. They tend to be better at following them. They're linked to the parent issue. So this was the task we gave Fraser to break down. That was still pretty short, and he did expand it into more details. If we scroll down to the comments, the agents leave comments, and also a link to the actual commit that she made, so we can see the files Daphne did. She updated the sample data code unit and remembered to update the user guide as well. That's pretty cool. We can take a look at the user guide. And we can see, if we scroll down, that number series has been incorporated into the load sample data code unit. So that's very promising. I like that. And the user guide has been updated. It says here that it checks that the seat filler record is there, and it talks about setting up standard number series and so on. So user guide has been updated. Also great. So let's take a look at the code. Just go into my workspace, and I'm on the agent nightly branch here. I just refreshed it, and so now we have the code. There's the sample data code unit with the new number series handling, and in configuration we now have a seat filler setup table. So let's try to run this. There, we will go to the role center. So I still have the event list and booking list. I would have liked to have the setup table linked in here as well. We'll get it to do that. But when I click load sample data, I now have new functionality. It asks me if I want to delete all of the current sample data before creating new. I'll just say yes. Sample data loaded. And then let's look at the events. And this now looks much more like numbers, series generated numbers. If I open the event here and go to bookings, same thing here. These looks like they've been sequentially generated by a number series setting. And let's look at the setup page, seat filler setup. Yeah, I now have two number series, seat filler events and seat filler bookings, so I can construct my numbering the way that I would like it. So that's great. And the next step would be to make sure that I can create the booking from in here. I can go here and create a new booking, But that was the other problem that we had, that I changed information for. I can get the number automatically from the number series now, but I don't get the event number, so they're not linked up correctly. We did update CloudMD for that, but I didn't create the task yet to make the change. So I think that's the last change we will do to fix the baseline app before I let Cliff make the next planning effort, where we let him think about broader improvements to the app. So since these changes look good, let's merge in the agent nightly branch to main, and we can then we can start the next batch of changes. I also want to start this because I enabled Codex code review on this. So now I just put in here fixed number series usage. You're supposed to just be able to tag Codex, but I think I actually enabled it in general, so I'm not sure I need to do that. But let's try to create the pull request, and we'll see if Codex does any work for us. It should do it on creation of the pull request. We'll see. Maybe I didn't do it correctly. Well, I guess so. Codex is doing something. it reacted with the eyes emoji, which I think means it's looking at my pull request. So we'll see if it comes back with any comments. So Codex completed its code request and actually flagged some valid concerns. The most annoying ones is that the update to number series functionality that I had Claude do to his own Claude MD contains an error in the assist edit functionality. It actually takes, so assist edit for number series is where you can pop up and choose a different number series if you have multiple for the same record type. First of all, I don't actually need that here for the simple stuff I'm building at the moment. I don't want it in the template, so we should just remove that. But the code here also made a mistake in that it actually takes the number series ID and puts it into the record number instead of the number series number. So that's a bug. But I think what I will do is just manually correct that. I don't like doing it because in general it should be the agents doing the code, but we'll just do it for now. And what I did was I actually I updated the CloudMD file again to have the right and simpler version of the number series pattern. So I will remove this on assist edit trigger. We don't actually need that for events and for booking. Let's just remove that. It would cause an error. So just do that there and remove on assist, remove assist edit triggers. Now, since I changed the CloudMD file, see it's updated here. I'm hoping that can I see it? Here we go. Yeah, so I updated the number series pattern. So I removed a lot of this stuff that was a way too complex. Specifically, it had the assist edit stuff, and I just removed that and make it a little more generic. and I think a little simpler. So I hope it'll work better for the next loop around. The other things that the code review flagged, I'm just going to leave that in here. So we can merge it in now. Okay, so to keep these recordings at a reasonable length, um, I did the TV kitchen thing and prepared the next step in advance. So I mentioned we needed to get a better connection of the events and the bookings. So you create a booking for event and it automatically hooks up the booking for the event. I I'm I'm learning, and this has shown twice now that it's always best to go through the planning agents. Either if it's a small feature improvement, to go through Frasier. If it's larger, I would go through Cliff, who can break down more features for Frasier. So to do this create booking for events, I created one issue for Frasier and asked to get a new booking menu item on both event list and event card, and that it should already come with the filled in booking number and be linked to the event. Also, that the booking should have a status field so they can be pending, confirmed, or cancelled, never deleted. And Frasier broke that down into what is it, six work items. Four of them feature work, engineering work. That Sam ended up completing all of them due to, oh sorry, five engineering tasks. That Sam completed all of them due to the very detailed specification work that Frasier does. It's interesting that the Frasier agent runs on Claude, and it works really well in a detailed design. It even kind of produces the code in the design, which of course makes it extremely easy for Sam to do the implementation. But when I asked a Claude-based engineering agent like Daphne to do a task at where the specification was at this level, uh, she actually failed a couple of times. So breaking down the task, getting the spec, I mean, maybe it shouldn't be a surprise for us that's been in software engineering for a long time. But I was a little surprised actually that's how it worked. So the last two issues here that was resolved by Daphne, that's because all documentation tasks, this is update of the markdown file, the object ranges, and the user guide, they're always done by Sam. Really is not very good at that. He can take detailed directions and produce code. Yeah, so that was done. We can just quickly show it here in the. Let's refresh it. Here we go. So everything is fixed with the available seats and so on. And now Project Management 101 has available seats. I can, from here, from the list, do a new booking, and it fills in like it should. All of the event information, I just put in the booking date. Maybe it should default to today. I'll confirm it immediately, like that. And there's one less available seat. So that works really well. I can do the same from the card here, and I can see related bookings, and it's all been updated in the user guide. So that worked very satisfactory. Now I've tried, and that's what I actually wanted to get to in this recording, to have my product owner Cliff just do the next iteration without me actually deciding what should go in the product. It's a little anxiety provoking because I don't know if he'll go crazy and order the agents to do a lot of work. Fortunately, I have consumption gates on all of my AI platforms, so it shouldn't suddenly spend all my money. Um, but what Cliff did is I gave him like a very free form task, as you can see. I said, look at the current functionality as described in user guide markdown file and at the product vision in product vision, and create the next 4 feature areas that add value to seat filler users. Features should improve user satisfaction and add to the value proposition of the product. Very broad. And what Cliff did, if we just look at, yeah, we can see one of them here. Just remove this. Here. Here was the task for Cliff. So what Cliff did was he created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 planning tasks for the program manager for Asia. It looks like the numbering scheme has been fixed as well. So that's great. So he's creating feature areas. Feature area 3, as we can see, is currently looks like it's the waiting list functionality. Then there's feature area 4, which is some analytics. Then there's feature area 5, which looks to be resource related. And then feature area 6 is the sales integration. So where did that come from? Well, it came from the product vision. So we didn't make it up completely. Actually, the list of future features matches quite nicely here. There's waiting list management, booking status lifecycle. Cliff realized by looking at, I'm assuming the user guide and the product vision together, like we asked him to, but he has access to all the code as well. But he realized we already did the booking status lifecycle, so he skipped that and went to integration with sales and resource management. So those are the feature areas that he started creating. I think that's pretty cool, and I'm curious to see what functionality we end up with. The the agents are already working. Fraser has done a plan. We can go, let's take a look at all of the open issues here. So the 3.1 area has been broken down, and the engineering agents have started working on those tasks. So I'll pause the video and then I will let this run. It'll probably run for quite a while. There's quite a lot of tasks here. And then we'll come back and see what we got. I'm looking at the results of the big run we started, where Cliff broke down a lot of work. Agent Fraser created engineering tasks, and you see we're stuck because one of the engineering tasks ended in an error, so the bill would have failed. There was actually one before this that also failed. I resolved that by doing some stuff manually. I can just show that when things fail, I mentioned we can always go to failed work. It saves all of the changes. We could also look in the log, but in failed work, it saves everything that it did. So this is a complete copy of the repo in the failed state, and you can go examine that. But I can also see from the name here, 105. So that is the issue that failed. So if I go to the closed issues now, 105 was this one. And what failed about it was that it followed the design too close as an error in the design. This creates a compile error. You cannot create an event variable called event, like the record is called. You would usually call it event rec or something like that, and like here have quotes. You wouldn't need it for event, but the event record event breaks. So the way that I fixed this here was that I made use of the fact that the agents can respond to me asking for a fix and then rerouting it back to them. So I typed it here in here, and that made Daphne fix it. But it was a little annoying because I feel like if Sam had done this, he would have rerouted to Daphne, and Daphne would have received the compile errors. And I'm thinking maybe that could be enough that she could fix it the other time or next time around. So I wanted to try that for this one. This is a similar problem. It's in the next engineering task to in the seat filler integration to sales. And you see it has the exact same problem here in the beginning. And Daphne has done exactly the same and just repeated uh, this error. So that's a little annoying. So we have not looked at them before, but this might be a good chance to just quickly take a look at the agent runners. So let me just open this in VS Code. So this is the script that run the engineering agents. It uses some shared libraries for some common functions and GitHub stuff. It has the big build projects functions that I'm planning on separating out as well at some point. So we can just minimize that. Um, it has the logic to handle when it's a retry, so it can receive the build error and do something about that, as I said. And we can just remove this. Oh, that was too much I removed. And if we go, if not, is retry, that's not what we want. These are the different agent prompts. So you'll see this is where the switch is for whether we're running Daphne, Niles, or Sam. Each of their prompts are stored in separate files. I can show these later as well. So these are pretty much just like prompt files in text format. So it's easy to edit them and change the prompts. Um, but after this, here is the build. So build calls our build projects function. And if the build fails, this is where we end up. And before, it was only Sam that did a retry. But I changed this logic now. And the only thing different now is that Sam will not retry as himself. He will still change the agent to Daphne. But I made it so, if my logic works, that if we're not already in a retry, then the agent will retry on their own. So Daphne will try once again, or Niles will try once again. But this time it will have the build errors as context. So I'm very curious to see if that will be enough to fix this error. So this time I won't change the description in here. I'll just remove the error status, and that should be enough that that Daphne picks up the task again. And this time, I would assume that she fails again, but this time retries and hopefully fixes the error. I'll see how that works. If not, we might have to do the same as I did before. I'll do two things actually. I'll put in the fixed text, and then as we did with some of the other stuff we came across, I'll update the instructions in the markdown files to make sure that this error shouldn't occur again. So the design shouldn't have been like that in the first. So this actually looked like it worked this time. It took me a little time tweaking the agent runner there. But now what happened was Daphne picked up the task again, the same one we looked at before that kept failing. Um, and it failed again, same error, calling the variable event. And Daphne reassigned it to herself, and this time completed the issue. So if we look at the final fix, she now fixed the problem and called the variable event rec instead of event. So that looks promising. Looks like it works. And the workflow has just continued. Fraser has broken down the last planning task, and now the engineering agents are working on the last task. So after that's done, we can come back and take a look at everything that's been done and see how that works. Now, all of the agent work is complete. We started with sort of a high level uh, task for agent Cliff, the product owner, to just look at the current functionality and make the next set of incremental improvements. And if you remember, he broke it down into several planning tasks for Fraser and so on. This was issue 72. And up until uh, it was done with that was here. So issue 120. So 48 something issues was created and completed. There was just the two errors that I showed along the way, and we found a way to iterate on an error so the agents could actually fix it themselves. It did not, and to be fair, I didn't specifically tell Cliff to do that, but that's something I can build into the general prompt in the future, because I think I like that, was to also improve the load sample data function with all of the new functionality that was added. So I did a manual task to Fraser to have him update the load sample data function. I should again have been more specific, because I also would have liked to get the walkthrough updated. So there's a load sample data function that creates demo data, and then there's a walkthrough that should use that and guide you through the product. But as you see, it didn't quite update all of that. But anyway, let's just see what was built. And a good way to see that is to go to the docs. So let me just go to the agent branch. I haven't merged it in yet. And the user guide. So the first things we already had, the queue, the role center. There's the seat filler setup. Some things has been added here. I notice now resource numbers and billing account number. So we didn't have billing before. We also didn't have resources you can allocate to the events. The resources are described here. So that's bookable. It could be meeting rooms, projectors, what have you. And they can be assigned to events. An event can now be billable. So it added the is billable and the associated price to events. View bookings, booking card. The new fields has been added to support the new functionality that we talked about. Sales invoice for billing can be linked. And here is the beginning of the description of the sales integration. So these are for the billable events. You can create an invoice from a booking. View the invoice. You can see whether a booking has been invoiced, billed. And then it added a waiting list functionality. So it actually created a whole separate waiting list system, a table on its own, and a way to add people to a waiting list in that table. I'm not sure I like that way of implementing it, so maybe we'll correct that in one of the next iterations. I think it should have just been a status on the booking or something like that. But anyways, That's when you can't control everything. Then it added some analytics. So there's a fill rate dashboard that can be opened. It says from the Seed Filler Role Center. Pretty cool with information on it. And then load sample data. So we should try to take a look at it. Here's the getting started tutorial. It starts with open the Seed Filler Role Center. So let's just do that. Here's the role center, and I can load sample data. When we run into problems, I'm going to write them down as we go through it. I will clear the existing data. But actually, you see here already, I get there's an error in creating the waitlist entries, so that's something we need fixed. Anyways, we had the setup. That was something I specifically asked it to do, so we can get to the seed filler setup here from the role center. And we can see that we have resource numbers, number series. It hasn't created it and filled it in along with the other stuff in load sample data, but it might be because of this error where the waiting list interrupts it. And we can put in a billing account. Pretty simplistic for now. It's just one account that it will post. I'll just pick one here. When we invoice the events, that's the account we wanted posted against. Then we can go take a look at the events. Oh, no, there's one more thing I want to see here. That's the analytics section. So if we open analytics, I get a nice overview now of all of the events. The reds are full or nearly full, as you can see. The green ones are still available. I can see the seed allocations across them. That's pretty cool. Maybe I can open the event directly from here. No, I can't. It would also have been nice. So we have to go back here, and I can see the events. So events can now be billable. I think this is the one, yes. So one of the events has been marked now as billable. It doesn't have a price. I think it should have that. Let me put in a price. Waitlist entries has been added. I can see how many is on the waitlist. And this list embedded, this should actually be a list of the people waitlisted. It's missing a caption. That's another thing we need to fix. And down here, I can see what resources has been allocated to the event. There's no resources to pick from. Again, some resources should have been created by the load sample data event. But I can go see the bookings. And a booking on a billable event that also has a customer number attached, I can actually create an invoice for. Let's see if that works. Oh, it did. So there's a sales invoice generated now. Oh, and I can see it here. Pretty cool. I don't think it got the customer name over though. So this probably won't post. Oops. No. Yeah, so we'll have to make a note of that as well. Customer number did not get transferred to the sales invoice. So there's some room for improvement. I'll create tasks here. This was iteration 3, if you're following those numbers, or sprint 3. So I think sprint 4 will be about fixing the bugs that we found here. And then after that is when I will let Cliff loose on creating the next iteration on his own. The agents have fixed or tried to fix in one case some of the bugs we found when we did the walkthrough, and I'll show a couple of examples here. And again, this is kind of the iterative work we have to do here in the beginning to get a baseline where all of the background markdown documents for architecture, engineering guide, and so on, and the agent prompts support building robust code. There's still some weird constructs here, but I'm trying to adhere to the rules for this experiments. And I have not written any code so far in this project. It's all the agents that do it. It's tempting sometimes because it's easy when you find an error. I could fix it easily, but instead I've chosen to tell the agents to fix it, and sometimes, well, they don't. They have a life of their own. So what I put in for Frasier was to fix the number series for seed filler resources. Um, we got the error when running load sample data from the waitlists. There's a missing caption on a waitlist part. Then the report was blank. And finally, the customer number was not transferred, so we could invoice. I liked what Fraser did when he created the tasks. So he actually continued the numbering. So that works really well. So like 627 fixed customer number transfer to invoice. That's for the sales integration. And actually we can see if we see, how is it that we say here? I think this is, oh, I guess I don't remember the syntax for this. Okay, we can go to it. Here it is. So here are all of the other 6.2 tasks. And the 627 was the new one that Fraser created. So the numbering follows the area that the work belonged to. That's pretty cool. One thing that I struggled with was that the empty report. So that was this one, the event fill rate report output. It's because the agent had created a report, so that's pretty cool. An AL report with an RDLC layout backing it. But I think I can at least speak for myself that it's easy to get lost in RDLC configuration and why things don't turn out the way that they should. So it turned out it had actually built some bad RDLC, and it had also placed the RDLC file in the wrong location. So in this case, you can see I reran the same task with a fix message here, and then with a fix 2, and then with a fix 3. And in each case, I fed the agent information about what was wrong. In one case, I just pasted in the error message that I got from the report. In another case, I actually had to investigate and debug a little to find out what was wrong in the RDLC file. Eventually, they got it right, and I got updated the engineering guide. So hopefully, next time it makes a report, it'll do better. So let's try and go back to the application here. With the fixes, I should now be able to load sample data. Clear first. This works. The other change was the report I just mentioned. So now I can run my event fill rate report. I could do it for a specific event, but I'll just do a preview for all of them and see I get a report when it lists the fill rate for all of the 5 events. That's very nice. If we open one of the events, we can see that it actually did not fix the caption for the waitlist. The reason I think is that it is wrongly embedded a list page instead of a list part page type here. So that's another thing I need to get updated in the backing guide files. It created resources now as part of the sample data. So I have resources here. It named the table resources. There's already a resources table in BC. I think I'm fine having separate resources for this, but it shouldn't be called the same. So then it's hard to find it when you search for it and so on. So that's another little thing that should be changed. A funny thing I noticed was then when it updated like this existing event card, it actually made page extensions. So like resources here has been added via a page extension. And that's not necessary when it's our own project. So that's another thing I'm updating and that we'll have to refactor, I think. Um, the last thing was that when we are in a project that is billable, we should be able to create an invoice for the bookings here. It will only do it when the bookings are confirmed. So as soon as I confirm here, I get a create invoice button. It also has to be linked to a customer. So let's just do that there. But then I should be able to create an invoice, and it does. And this time I got the customer transferred and so on. There's still something goofy about how it creates the lines here with quantity and so on. So I just need to fix that before it can really post. But it's pretty close. I like that. So it solved most of the issues except for one. So I think we're ready to continue. I think I'll do two things for the next video. I'll collect the issues here that needed to be refactored so we don't carry too much technical debt forward. And then for the second iteration, I'll get Cliff to do a totally free scan of the application and plan for the next set of improvements. I've been thinking whether I should introduce one more agent, which would be an architect, because some of the mistakes they've made here is something that really an architect would oversee, read the design documentation, the planned implementations, and adjust. So, for example, we didn't create the waitlist records, which I think is done in the wrong way. I don't know if it's possible to create an architect agent that could catch that, but it could be interesting to try. So that'll be for video 3. This is it for the second video. The seat filler application is evolving, so that's cool. See you next time.